From VOA, Learning English, this is the Education Report. English learners know that prepositions can be difficult to master. There are 94 one-word prepositions in English and about 56 prepositions with two or more words, called complex prepositions. This adds up to 150 chances to make mistakes. Here are a few explanations of different prepositions that use the verb provide. To provide can be followed by an indirect object. English speakers use the preposition with. To provide someone with something means to give something wanted or needed. To provide for is another verb-preposition combination. To provide for means to make whatever is necessary for someone available to them. We use this expression often when we talk about parents providing for their family. This preposition can also be used in other ways. To provide for can also mean to make it possible for something to happen in the future. When provide is followed by a direct object, English speakers can use the prepositions to or for. To provide something to or for someone means that you deliver or give something to someone. For example, the company provides health insurance to all of its employees. In this example, we also could have said, the company provides health insurance for all of its employees. Both of these sentences are correct, but it is more common to use provide something for than provide something to someone. English prepositions can be difficult, even for native speakers. But we hope that we have been able to provide some assistance. For VOA Learning English, I'm Jonathan Evans.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Parents in South Australia's Aboriginal areas may lose some of their financial aid if they do not send their children to school. New rules link school attendance with government assistance to people living in poverty. Warren Mundine is Prime Minister Tony Abbott's top advisor on issues concerning Aboriginal Australians or Aborigines. He disagrees with linking the aid to school attendance. Instead, he urges the government to find ways to improve attendance without punishing parents. He says he thinks strong punitive measures should be the last plan of action. Mr. Mundine says the situation can change if tribal leaders support education. He says the government needs to work with parents and communities to make what he calls a massive cultural change. Other officials argue that the threat of stopping aid will force families to take education more seriously. In South Australia State, only 50% of children stay in school after the age of 15. In some areas, as many as 90% of Aboriginal children struggle to read and write. The state government says it has special programs for Aboriginal students. It says students work with their parents and teachers to develop a personal learning plan and re-examine it every year. Public schools also have people available who can work individually with Aboriginal students who need extra help. And there is a program that helps Aboriginal students deal with the change from middle school to high school. About 670,000 Aborigines live in Australia. The state of Western Australia also has special programs for these native peoples and other groups. For VOA Learning English, I'm Alex Villarreal.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Chinese students have a long history of coming to the United States for education. And this month, American educators expect high schools across America to enroll more Chinese students than ever. 17-year-old Grace Liu is one of about 30,000 Chinese citizens at American high schools. She grew up in Tianjin, a city of 14 million people on China's east coast. This fall, she is starting her third year of high school in the southeastern United States. Grace attends Rabun Gap Nkuchi School in Rabun Gap, a small community in the state of Georgia. She sounds very happy with her surroundings. Anthony Scrow heads the Rabun Gap School. He says the number of Chinese applications or requests to attend the school has risen sharply in the last 15 years. Many of the students are from China's growing middle class. They want a good education and to improve their chances to attend America's most respected universities. Attending schools outside of China also means an escape from the intense competition at schools inside China. Memorization by rote is common there. This method of learning through memory exercises uses up a lot of time. It can keep students from taking part in sports or interest groups. Anthony Scrow says some of Rabun's citizens have expressed displeasure about the young Chinese arrivals. Mr. Scrow says his students see stories about China in newspapers and on television. He says they also will know 5 students from that country. He said this helps the student understand that they need to be aware and interested in what is happening around them. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Education Report. Today, we hear expert suggestions for academic writing. Jennifer Ahern Dodson is an assistant professor of the Practice in Writing Studies at Duke University in North Carolina. Ms. Ahern Dodson likes to start a discussion with both students and professors planning to write a paper or essay. She asks about their earlier writing experiences. Were they negative or positive? She says you are not alone if you have had problems with your writing. Everyone struggles with writing. Writing is hard. It's hard for all writers at some point, she says. And at some point, you are going to hit a roadblock, she adds. She advises to think about earlier experiences. When the writing is going well, what was happening? When the writing was not going well, what was happening? She says most people's negative writing experiences happened because a very specific formula or page limit was required. Another problem can arise when the need to do well on a paper is extremely important. Anxiety, she says, can make it harder to get the writing done. Ms. Ahern Dodson says when writing comes easily, the writers believe they have something important to say. She advises asking yourself questions. What insights can you bring to your paper? Why does this subject matter? What is the importance? For whom is it meaningful? Who will be reading it? You can ease writing by placing your attention on what you have to offer. That, says Ms. Ahern Dodson, is an important change for all writers. For VOA Learning English, I'm Carolyn Presutti.